give the people an employment legal tip of the week.
Sure. So if you're an employee of a company as opposed to an owner or a true independent contractor, check your pay stub every time you get paid to make sure that you got paid for every day you worked in the pay period. And in California, toward that end, your pay stub has to state the beginning and end dates of the pay period to make it easier for you. And just make sure you were properly paid. From your pay stub, you're supposed to be able to see if you were paid for everything you were supposed to be paid for. If you can't verify that from your pay stub, the employer probably has a legal problem.
Cool. Okay, so I'm going to give you a really quick one. It's on personal injury. And so you need to have good auto insurance. What does that mean? You don't want to get into an accident and not be able to rent a car that's as good as the car that you have. You don't want to have a time limit on the amount of time that you have for your rental car. You want to make sure that no matter what happens with the other driver, they have insurance, they don't have insurance, you have sufficient insurance. It's called uninsured or underinsured motorist insurance. That if you have, it doesn't make a difference what insurance the other driver has. They could have zero. They could have zero like many drivers in California. They could have a lot. You don't really care because you already have your insurance and you know that if you're not at fault for this accident, you have sufficient coverage to cover your pain and suffering, your damages and loss of earnings, all sorts of stuff, but you need to have it. Sam, give the people some advice.
In business law, it's important to keep your business separate from what you're doing personally. So if you do have your own business, make sure to set up a separate business entity, either an LLC or an S corp. If you don't know, ask a business lawyer. Make sure to get that set up.
A business lawyer like Sam Malite.
It could be whoever. Make sure to set up the entity. Make sure to get your tax IDs. Make sure to have the operating agreement and bylaws in place. And then once you do that, then you want to go open up a separate business bank account, completely separate. And then every time you have any business expenses, you want to use a business credit card to pay off those business expenses, and then use your business checking account to pay off those business credit cards. That way you keep it very completely separate. But at the end of the year, when you have to do your taxes, you just hand off those bank statements to your accountant. The benefits of this is you'll be able to get business tax deductions. It's a lot of benefits that comes out.
I want to add a couple more onto those. Tell me if you agree. You also shield yourself from legal liability. You also, with certain entities, you can deduct from penny one all of your medical expenses, as opposed to if you do not have an entity, there's a limitation on what type of medical expenses you can take out. So that's great advice. So now we're going to move on to a segment that allows us to give you a recommendation. I, for some reason, from a very young age, have used the term deal a lot. So we're going to call it Deal of the Week.